brilliant Barnabas. Hello, I'm Malcolm Cox and welcome to Tuesday Teaching Tips, and today we're beginning a series on the character of Barnabas, one of my favourite characters of the New Testament, perhaps the most neglected of all New Testament characters in terms of preaching and teaching. And why is Barnabas important for us as we think about our preaching and teaching here? Is because of what it says in Acts chapter 14 verse 1. At Iconium, Paul and Barnabas went as usual into the Jewish synagogue. There they spoke so effectively that a great number of Jews and Greeks believed. Jews and Greeks. Barnabas effective to people from different cultures and different religious backgrounds. Effective in Jerusalem and Cyprus and Antioch and various other places. An amazing character. And in a lot of these recordings I do, I focus on practical things and techniques for how to be a better speaker, and that's useful. But in this series, we're going to focus on character and spirituality and why that made him so effective as a preacher and teacher. Why does it say that in Acts chapter 14, that he spoke so effectively? Not just Paul, but Barnabas as well. What made him effective, and I think what made him so effective, was his character and his spirituality. We're going to look at that now as we take one episode each week to go through from Acts 4 to Acts 15 and a bit beyond. So join me as we explore brilliant Barnabas. We first meet Barnabas in Acts chapter 4. The context is the early days of the church, and there are needs there, and it seems that Barnabas knows about these needs, as it says in verse 36. Joseph, a Levite from Cyprus, whom the apostles called Barnabas, which means son of encouragement, good nickname to have, sold a field he owned and brought the money and put it at the apostles' feet. Now, what do we learn about his character here? I would say quite a few things. Firstly, he takes initiative. No one tells him to do this. He takes initiative. He's decisive, a decisive man, and he's generous. To sell a field, especially in the culture of that day, was a really big deal. So he's generous, he's sacrificial, he's trusting, gives the money to the apostles. He's humble in letting them get on with distributing the money as is needed. He doesn't try to take control of the situation. So he's a trusting man, a generous man, a humble man, a sacrificial man, a decisive man, someone who takes initiative. How does this feed into his effectiveness later as a preacher and a teacher, as we see in Acts 14? Well, if you're going to be an effective preacher and teacher, you've got to be decisive. I'm going to preach on this, I'm going to teach on that, and not just sort of wait around for some weird kind of idea of inspiration to strike you, but get on with something, teach and preach. We see that he takes initiative. Again, effective preachers and teachers aren't those who wait for others to tell them what to do and say, but have their own convictions. A generous man, he's willing to use his money, his possessions. Well, we need to be generous with the use of our time in preparation and in delivery of teaching and preaching. He's sacrificial. He puts aside something that he owns for the sake of other people. We put aside our energy and our time in preparation and teaching and preaching for the sake of other people, for the benefit of the church, for the benefit of the kingdom. So we see a number of things here that are admirable about Barnabas, and I believe made him an effective preacher and teacher. So, of those things we see here about Barnabas, which of those inspire you the most, resonate with you the most, perhaps challenge you the most? I believe if we adopt more of the character and spirituality of Barnabas, we'll be much more effective as preachers and teachers. So what do you think about today's passage, what we've learned today about Barnabas? I would love to know your thoughts. So please leave a message anywhere you hear or see this recording. Leave it publicly so that we can learn from each other, because we learn best when we learn in community. And if you know someone who would benefit from this recording, please pass it on to them. And if you could do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, the like button in YouTube, or leave a review in iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts from. I'd appreciate that, because it increases the visibility of these recordings. And I do hope that you are inspired by Barnabas, and that you, by adopting some of his character and spirituality, that it'll help you to be as effective as he was in teaching all kinds of people. Until the next time, have a terrific Tuesday and a wonderful week. Take care and God bless.